Hey everyone, we're back here at the plot today and I am about to do some harvesting. We're gonna take a look at those tomatoes back there. It's been really hot, which is a good thing. They're probably gonna be very nice and dried and the flavor is gonna be concentrated. And we're also gonna take a look at the potatoes that I have on those buckets in there and are really looking like they're struggling. I know we're supposed to wait until potatoes die before you harvest them, but I think it's time. So we're gonna do a big potato review today and try to harvest a few things here in the plot so the animals don't get to them before I do. I'm gonna actually start right there with the potatoes because that's what I'm most curious about. I really can't wait to see if there's anything in there. Every time I grow root vegetables, I'm always kind of scared because you know, you never know what you really can find. Sometimes you have amazing harvest, sometimes it doesn't do so well and there's no way to tell until you put your hands in there and dig it up. So let's take a look. Actually, we just did a bucket to make sure there was something in there, and there was. That's a lot of potatoes in here, which is pretty cool. And I threw the dirt here because, not the dirt, the soil. I want to amend this and reuse this to plant something else. Since it's still July, there's still time. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of that same fish and bone meal fertilizer that I have, mix it around and grow something else. But now let's get going and take a look at how much more potatoes I can get. So those were little red fingerling potatoes, I guess. They're from the farmer's market, so I don't know the name. Some of them got bigger, some got smaller. Actually, I'm going to throw these in the basket so it's easier for everybody to see. And that way you can kind of see actually how many potatoes we'll get. So this was a really great start. There's a bunch there already. And we're going to move on and do another bucket right now. So let's do this guy. Just going to throw right in here. And this time actually I'm gonna put my gloves on because the bucket's a little wet. So let's take a look at that. I have no idea what kind those actually are. Ooh, yellow, I can see. Wow, that's really, there's a worm in there. How cool is that? Looks like a red wiggler. Maybe it was from the compost. Don't worry, I don't want to disturb it too much. So, oops. I'm gonna leave it in here for a little bit, then we will maybe put it out. But this is, well, I filmed my video on saying how I planted these potatoes. So I can't remember how many potatoes I put in there, but I'm guessing I did only 3. And this is how much I'm already getting for it, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna put it in here. Maybe I should lift this up here so it's easier to see. Alright, Danny, how many potatoes do you think I can get?
15.
15 from this guy? I don't know. Oh, there's some more there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 already, so that's good. They're little. A lot of dirt, a lot of soil in here, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all these buckets in this cart actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 already. See if there's any more. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be right on the money. Oh, that was really nice. Oh, there's a baby. That doesn't count. It's okay. So now I will move this out. These plants here, we're gonna go to the compost. I didn't really get really sick or anything. They had a little bit of bug damage, so maybe I should reconsider, but I'll think about it. I'm gonna take them out of here now, and we're gonna move on to the next bucket. Look at the soil. It feels pretty good, this guy. I wonder what color this one is. Maybe it's also yellow, I don't know. This is really big. Let's do this. It's already full, Danny. This is red too. There's another red one. Maybe could have stayed a little longer. There's a lot of little potatoes in here. Those are going to be baby. These are going to be the ones that we roast. I think most of it, it's actually in this root ball over here. There's one big one that has eyes. Should we plant this again? Maybe I'll plant this one again. It'll be another seed potato. This one was a little less. I actually, because the plant was still alive, I wonder if I had left it longer, we would get more potatoes from it. Okay, so that one was not very exciting. The first one so far was the best. First one before that. Let's see if this one will not disappoint us. And now my cart's already full, so I don't even know if I can take the last one or not. So let's see. That plant looks pretty dead too. Oh, that looks good. Another yellow one. These are nice new potatoes. Skin is very nice and tender. Maybe we'll have this for dinner instead of curing them. It's looking really good. First one's exciting. Maybe the red ones just produce more. I mean, the first one was a lot. I'm gonna put some dirt here. It takes just so of soil. Now that's a lot of soil, so this is pretty good that I can reuse this. All right, last one. There's also another yellow one. So they're all, I thought I had some bloom in here, maybe I was wrong. Oh, this one's very dry on the bottom. So it's a bit easier to harvest. Oh, there's a big one there. Look at that. I mean, big for us. We prefer to eat smaller potatoes, so that's why we put it 3 potatoes in there, 2 to 3, and then they give more potatoes but little potatoes. We are okay with that. Not as abundant as last year, but listen, this one for 2 people is pretty good. We still have the Adirondack blue potatoes that are planted as a seed potato a little bit later than this to harvest a bit later in the season. I'm finding a couple more. This is pretty good. So this is, you got a good amount for 2 people. There were 6 buckets in there. Maybe if you had waited longer, or if they hadn't struggled much, because I kind of missed the water in here and there, it would be better. But we're really happy with it. We will eat a few of them fresh tonight. Now let's move on. Going to do the tomatoes, because since we live in the city, sometimes the squirrels or rats can get to them before us, and I don't want that to happen. So we're gonna go ahead and take some tomatoes home now too. So the last garden tour, I said I was going to harvest some flowers too, because there are so many here and I want to encourage them blooming. We're not doing that today. I'm only going to try to concentrate on the veggies. On the tomatoes, there's some little eggplants in there that I gotta grab, and maybe a few peppers. So let's start with the tomatoes first. I'm taking them a little bit unripe, as you will see here. When it starts blushing like this, I find this the best time for us to get it. So we will just leave it in the counter and it will keep ripening in there. So it has a funny shape on it. So this one lost the tag, but I'm thinking it's a Thornburn terracotta because of the orange that's ripening too. This one has a bit of more, or maybe not, gray tone. See it there splitting? If you watched last garden tour, you saw that we wet out for a little bit and everything got really dry, and then I gave very good water when I came back, and this usually tends to happen. If the the plant gets dry and uptakes too much water at once, the fruit can split, but this is still completely edible. You can just cut this around this in case something got into there and still eat the fruit. So we will definitely eat that. Everything over there was still a little green, so we're gonna move up to this side. This purple heart here is just starting to blush. I kind of want to give it another day, even though I am afraid that I'm gonna lose them for the squirrels, but I think I'll take the risk right there. Look how huge this one next to it is. I think this was probably like multiple blossoms that get like the fasciated blossoms that fuse into each other and give this ginormous fruit there, but that's gonna take a little bit longer to ripen, and this has already started. Those here, they are orange accordion. They're huge too, but I think the mice, they kind of are starting to change color up here, so it might be cool for them. But I'm gonna take this guy here because this plant died from the heat. It's all, I'm gonna actually take the whole plant out because there's only 2 fruits in here. So this only had these 2 fruit and it's completely dry, the leaves, and this guy here, the little one, has blossom and rot. You can see here, that could be from the watering consistency too. So only 1 tomato. I'm gonna make some space for the other ones to grow a little bit better. So taking this one out, I'm going to let it ripen in the counter. When I can, I leave the stem in. I've heard that helps with the flavor. I'm not really sure, but I try to leave them in there anyway. This is gonna go to the compost later. And on that side here, I feel like I'm going to the jungle. There's a baby, I think this is a Costa Luto Genovese. A lot of them are ripening small. I think it's because they also got stressed with the lack of water. That some of the fruit, they all kind of started ripening when they could. So this whole cluster here seems to be blushing, so I'm gonna cut out the whole thing actually. Look how cute. It had a really big tomato here. You can see it's not here anymore, but I think my neighbor, the owner of this plot, took it for them, which is great. I'm glad that they're also going to enjoy some, but I'm gonna take this whole thing home and wait until it ripen. But look, check this out. There's some like have a little funny shape. Put this one in here too. We already harvested a bunch of cherry tomatoes when we came back, so we haven't had a chance to eat them yet. They're just ripening, but those orange sun gold tomatoes are kind of ripening fast. We've been harvesting this a bit more than everything else. I'm gonna put the cherries in this little basket here. And here, you see these ones? Those are the very crazy cherry tomatoes. This whole cluster is also ready, so I'm gonna try to cut there. How cute. So this guy is gonna go in our basket. Last year, this one didn't do very well in our garden and they didn't taste very great, so I'm curious to see if this year is going to taste a little better. So we're excited to try this one too. I'll put in here and I will, there's some more in there. That looks like there's some green still, so just pick individually. Here we go, and I'm gonna move to that side and pick what's in here. Let's do this eggplant first, because look at this cute little fairy tale eggplant. The plant is little and is struggling, but it's giving us some fruit, which is kind of cool. I'm gonna take most of it, even those little ones. I like to eat them when they're small too. It's nice. I love the color of it, and they're very nice and tender. They don't have many seeds on them because they're so little. We really enjoy them roasted or sauteed. They have really good flavor. So glad I can get some today too. I'll leave those two little ones there to get a little bit bigger. And then here, this New Yorker tomato. It's also starting to blush. I'll take this one out. It looks like, I thought these were dead, but you can see there's some more forming there. Now it's too late to cut the whole thing off, so we're just gonna get one tomato from that cluster. And this, my favorite this year, the black strawberry tomatoes. They were starting to ripen too. I don't think I have any on this plant actually ripening. I don't, the other one we do. These ones are tasty too. We already harvested a couple. I think the one from this plant is like an orange and gold color, and the one from the plant back there that came in the same pack, it's more like a purple green color, like a purple kind tomato, as a Cherokee purple, etc. and Paul Robinson. So let's go to the other side. There's a tomato on the ground here. It means that someone got to it before I got to. This black strawberry has a lot of fruit on them, which is cool. And some of them in the back here are just starting to blush too. It's kind of just got a little pink. It turns a lot darker than this, but I really do not want to lose them anymore. Alright, so this is only one, but the one, I know the one in our, I saw some, but it's the one I think in our backyard that has more than that. And we already got some from this plant, which is good too. Taste tomatoes. You're gonna come home with us too. These are really big. There's a aroma in here. Hopefully I can get it without dropping it. Here we go. And on this side, I'm gonna also take, this could also stay a little longer, but see, this one I already lost one from an animal. I came here and had one in the ground. So I'm just gonna go for those two, go fast. No, I'll leave that one there. Let's go to the other side. Look, if you've missed the garden tour, that's the tomato that got eaten by whatever it was, a rodent. And they just threw it there in the compost. Those other two, they also had white spots. Okay, so this was not too bad for our first, I guess, tomato harvest. We've been getting some cherries here and there, but this is the first significant one with the big ones. They don't look ready, but we'll be sure to show you guys once they ripen in my counter how they look like. But I really want to have the first ones, especially the ones that are lower to the ground. I like to take this a little bit earlier but the ones that are ripening on the top, maybe I'll let them mature a little bit more for flavor before I harvest them. I might take some of these calendulas that I keep saying that I'm gonna harvest and I never do since I'm here. I'll just grab a few of the open ones. I'm harvesting this for drying, so I'm not taking the stem. Just wanna dry them to use it later for its beneficial skin purposes. So this whole plant's kind of not looking very great. Eventually I'm gonna take the whole plant out. But the calendulas, in the morning they're closed and they usually get open like this mid to late day. So while they're open, I'm just going to get them in there. And then we're gonna take this whole plant out this week, hopefully. Let's get some peppers too. Just put a mulatas here to make sure that they keep producing, since they're a lot slower than they were last year. Maybe some of this basil too. It's flowering and you can eat with the tomatoes. I heard that some flowering basil is actually really good for tea, so maybe I should try that. So I'll use the ones that haven't flowered yet for cooking, and these ones that have flowered for tea. I'll have to work fast because they don't like to be harvested when it's really hot. They like to go in water right away and then bring any water, but we're almost ready to leave, so just a few sprigs will be okay. This basil plant is so big and bushy already, I'm not really worrying about where I'm cutting them. I know they're just gonna keep coming back. Okay, let's move to the backyard now. Set this in here. We're gonna keep harvesting these tomatoes a little bit. This basket's a little full, but I gotta go ahead and put this basil in water. I'll set some in here. And just real quick, just go grab the tomatoes here that were damaged. So they have sun scald on them, this white stuff, because these plants are all droopy and a lot of sun got in here. But you can still eat the around it. So I'm gonna go ahead and harvest this 4 here. Cut that part off, and then we're gonna probably cook it with something. So let's just one more in there. Put this in the basket. These have very nice dark marks. They're the same variety as this guy, but they kind of came out different. I'll turn them like this so it doesn't look that ugly. This plant here got really damaged too. Same with the other one. They took it out from where we're gone. But I'm going to take this tomato out. Maybe there were 2 in the bottom, and I'll leave these other ones in the top to ripen before I pull out the plant. This plant is doing good. This goes to Luto Genovese here. It's getting pretty big and has some other tomatoes still forming there. This is my favorite, one of my favorite ones last year. It's a red tomato, very tasty. Okay, now this guy's here. It's the same terracotta ones that have been all maturing everywhere. They are Hornsburn terracotta. Gotta get those in. That plant with the sun golds still have a lot. I'm also going to take this solo squash out. This is a lemon drop squash. The atomic grape, it's all kind of already ripening too. So I'm gonna take this whole cluster up here. Those are really cute. And this is the strawberry blonde that I thought the ones that were ripening were the plot, but these ones here, the ones that are doing good. Those were still green, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take the ones in the back. Oh, my hands are already full. They're a little bit bigger than cherry tomatoes, which is pretty cool. Take this whole thing. This was the first one to ripen for us, and we already got so many tomatoes from it. Even when one little green, I'll get the whole cluster. But I still have a lot of them inside. I can show you guys in a minute. I'll bring them out. We still have a lot of these orange ones. We already have, must say, a lot of these orange ones ripening there. And it's been really hot, so hopefully those will be very sweet, very tasty. Actually, I have one more. This is amazing. It's a great problem to have. Just keep finding more things to harvest. But I have gotta take this very crazy cherries out of this plant too. Those are a lot darker than the ones from the plant I just harvested before. I mean, a lot more bright. We can probably do tonight, which is exciting. They feel soft too, so they're definitely almost ready. So cucumber here too. Oops, getting a bit too big even. This is the silver slicer cucumber shown in the garden tours. This is how much big already is from just from there to here. So this is my favorite cucumber because it's not green. It doesn't have a lot of the bitterness that some cucumbers can get. So it's also pretty firm, that it's firm enough that you can also pickle it, which is a super plus. We're gonna do those here. This is a pretty great harvest, I guess, for wow. That's a lot more than I thought it would be, which is really cool. I just want to show you guys. I said I was going to show the other tomatoes. I'll come down with this, and I just remember that I also got to harvest this bean, so we're not done yet. We have a lot coming out from the garden this week, which I'm very grateful for. But this is what we harvested just a couple days ago, and we're waiting for them to ripen. So these are good, so we're going to have them tonight. And some of them, this is the Thornburn terracotta. This is the final color that kind of ripens too. I'm very excited to taste this one. We have all of this, and I'm gonna go ahead and harvest some beans too. I'm gonna use this basket over here, put these guys together. But this is a lot more than I was expecting to harvest, so I'm pretty excited about. Let's just get, and this is strawberries. Oh my gosh, I'll get the strawberries later. They're getting a little bit, I can smell them. They're kind of getting a little too red. Whew. That's what you get when you plant a big garden. Sometimes you harvest a lot more than you think you are. But let me go get these beans first. Just the bigger ones. It's not going to be that much. Just a few beans for dinner. They're already kind of doing this thing. I don't know. I like to harvest when they're still slender. And harvesting the first ones just encourages the plant to keep producing more. So I'm going to get some of these yellow ones. I'll do strawberries later. I just have too much to deal with right now. We just harvest them and eat. Now just get these guys from the top. They grow so fast. You don't harvest for a day and they get this big. So you gotta really kind of keep up once they start producing. We're having them for dinner tonight too. Those are the red swan bush beans. I grew them last year. I really like the color. These guys are probably able to stay another day. Since I already have a lot of dinner tonight, I'll leave them here. But I guess that's it. Just a little bit more for the garden. Ow! Tomatoes. There's this here that I forgot. Just grab this, guys, and I'll be done. Our neighbor is a musician and he practices the trumpet. So if you hear something in the back, it's just them playing right now, which is pretty cool that we have a musician living close to us. But here it is. This was the bad pepper that got sun-scout and rotten, so we're not gonna eat that. I'm gonna put it in the compost. But this, taking the seedlings out, it's a pretty good harvest. So thank you so much for watching today. If you have any questions about anything, please make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I also have a grow list video where I showed most of everything that I'm growing this year, so I'm gonna make sure to link that down too if you're curious to see most of the varieties that I'm growing, things that I missed. I'll put a link right here for the last garden tour if you missed that. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you next time.